Earlier this week, intense storms hit Arizona from the Colorado River all the way to the New Mexico state line. And here in the valley, some communities received nearly a third of their annual average rainfall.
And believe it or not, the storms had nothing to do with the monsoon. So what caused the skies to open up? Cronkite News reporter Jordan Evans explains it has all to do with what goes on 20,000 feet above us.
We actually have a tornado warning that is still in effect for at least, this is a storm that's tracking to the northeast. We are seeing a little bit of rotation begin to happen in this storm. Now we have to talk about dust.
This was the scene in our newsroom earlier this week. It all started Monday, before the sun came up, as severe storms took over the Phoenix metro. Storms flooded the East Valley. Then a tornado touched down in New River at noon. And soon after that, for Monday's drive home, hail and torrential rain pummeled most of the valley.
We saw this coming. Not necessarily a tornado, but we knew we're going to have a period of severe weather. So we saw this several days in advance, so we were able to prepare a little bit. We have 6 operational forecast stations here, and I would say Monday we probably had just about every one of them in use.
Waters is responsible for directing operations at the Phoenix office. He says this setup was not monsoonal. This was something else.
This is kind of what we would consider to be a transition event. So basically a bridge between the monsoon season, which is still ongoing. Being that this is kind of more of a transition event, every few years or so, we'll get some severe weather during that time.
So remember, our monsoon runs from June 15th all the way to September 30th. And our monsoon, it's driven by a big area of high pressure center parked over the Four Corners region. This not only pulls in moisture from the Gulf of California, but also from the Gulf of Mexico. And our topography here in Arizona allows those storms to initiate. Now, this setup was a little bit different because we had the rich moisture coming up from the south and a lot of it from rich tropical storm remnants, but we also had a big, deep Pacific trough coming from the northwest, and it parked itself over Yuma. This allowed some extra atmospheric dynamics to go on, which was the perfect setup to get severe thunderstorms across our state.
9 years ago, I believe, where we had some very severe weather at this time of the year, and we had 3-inch hail in Phoenix, and we had a tornado outbreak up by Flagstaff. So it's not unheard of, but it certainly is unusual, and it's been a very, very busy time for severe weather this week.
Busy is just one word to describe this week. But surprisingly, Phoenix Sky Harbor only picked up nearly 1/4 inch of rainfall, barely putting a dent in this year's deficit. It's meteorologists like Ken Waters that have put in countless hours to keep us informed and safe during all of this crazy weather. In Phoenix, Jordan Evans, Cronkite News.